So apparently, I have ticked off my friends from the state of New York. I did a video last week entitled Why I'm Leaving Charlotte. And in that video, I talked about people that are actually moving down south from different places, and they come here with a not so friendly attitude. And I told them, listen, if I see you out somewhere and I speak to you, I'm gonna have a problem if you don't say something back. Well, I tell you what, that was a mistake. And my colleague from New York, my business partner, 3 of them, as a matter of fact, from the state of New York, told me, Sean, if you say that on that video and you release it, you have better be ready for the backlash because they are going to come out swinging. And I tell you what, right now that video has over 200 comments, and a lot of it from people from New York that have either moved to Charlotte already or thinking about moving to Charlotte or not thinking about moving here, but just watched that video and heard me talk about New Yorkers coming from. They got mad at me. Listen, guys, I love New Yorkers. Listen, I even put on my hat today so you guys could see. I love New Yorkers. Listen, my oldest daughter lives in New York. Her mother from New York, Queens, as a matter of fact. My business partner, whom a lot of you know already from YouTube, my brother, Sir Ashley Harrison, he's from New York. Now, he's from upstate New York, so he may not be from New York per se, but he's from upstate New York. My other business partner, Tijuana Evans, she is from Brooklyn, guys, all right? Listen, my other business partner, whom some of you guys know, Miss Yadi Jones, okay? It's spelled Y-A-R-I, but it's pronounced Yadi. Another New Yorker from Queens, okay? Listen, my office manager, my team leader, okay? My brother, whom you've seen on my channel before, Dwayne Clark, another New Yorker. I love New Yorkers, but listen, that doesn't mean that you didn't come from a hellhole, all right? Listen, I go to New York once a month, and I love staying in New York, but listen, you don't see mice down here. I'm not gonna even call those things mice. Those are rats in Manhattan, okay? I saw one on the subway as big as my dog, all right? That's kind of hellish to me, okay? But listen, I'm not gonna tease you guys, man. I love y'all. I even had somebody tell me she was gonna unfollow me for talking about New York. So I just wanted to just say that real quick, guys. Listen, I love y'all too, New Yorkers, okay? Even though you may not love me or have a lot of love in your heart for anybody else outside of New York, we love y'all. Listen, New York changed the city of Charlotte. I'm surrounded by New Yorkers, as a matter of fact. Listen, we wouldn't have trendy little areas now called Noda if it wasn't for people that came from the north. Noda used to be called North Davidson when I was growing up in Charlotte, and you didn't even go to North Davidson. But now if you go, you got people jogging, running, you got cultural, you got art, you got activities, you got restaurants. You can go hang out in Noda, okay, because the New Yorkers came down here and made it trendy. It's a great area. You also have places like South End. Okay, when I was growing up, there was no South End, not by name. It was just south of Uptown, is what we used to call it when I was growing up. It was downtown Charlotte, and it probably had 2 big buildings in downtown, but now it's a little bit bigger. Okay, you can see the buildings from other parts of Charlotte, okay, depending on how close you get to what's called now Uptown, okay? But listen, it wasn't Uptown until people moved into the city and started calling it Uptown. I've even had a New Yorker argue me down and tell me, Sean, it is not downtown, you country bumpkin. It's Uptown. And I'm like, hey, man, I grew up here. You can't tell me what we call it. But guess what? They call it Uptown now. Or then you go out to Ballantyne. They even got a cute little name for Ballantyne now, or parts of Ballantyne, Soba, south of Ballantyne. So everything now has a little trendy nickname because of my New York friends. So listen, welcome to Charlotte, guys. Get this. I've moved roughly 200 people from New York to the Charlotte Metro that I've met on YouTube. And all of them told me why they're coming here, because they want peace of mind, they want a lifestyle, slower pace, whatever that may be. They're getting older, they just retired, they want to stretch out that money. So in this video, we are going to talk about why are people moving from the north down to Charlotte, and in a lot of cases to the suburbs of Charlotte outside of this city. Stay tuned, I'll be right back. New to the channel, my name is Sean Gerald. I'm a brokerage owner with Lifestyle International Realty. We have a lot of fun. I'm an Airbnb host, and I love everything real estate. I also served in the United States Marine Corps. So to all my Marines out there, hard chargers, I salute you all. And whatever branch you served in, if you did serve or your family served, thank you and thank them for their service as well. We really appreciate you guys. Now, it doesn't matter if you're moving here in 9 days, 9 weeks, or 9 months. I talk to folks like you every single day of the week, and I cannot wait to serve you and your family. So if you're thinking about moving to the Charlotte Metro, please give me a call. My information is going to be in the description box below, but my number is 704-340-3822. You can call me, you can text me, you can skywrite me, whatever you want to do. Just reach out to me so I could tell you about this amazing city that I grew up in. And yes, I am a Charlotte native. Listen, I've had people in the comments on that last video stating that they have been in Charlotte in some cases 15, 20 years and never met a Charlottean. And I said in that video, I think a UFO took all of my fellow Charlotteans away from here. But there are a few of us around here. Most of us moved to the outskirts because the cost of living in Charlotte just got way too high for some people. So we're going to talk about why people are moving down from the north and other parts of the country to the Charlotte Metro. Let's jump into it. All right, guys. So the first thing we're going to talk about is affordable housing. That's a significant draw for people moving from the north. Median home prices in the Charlotte Metro are right around $300,000. You already know that is significantly lower than it is in New York. And when you talk about rent prices, according to apartments.com, the average rent price in the Charlotte Metro can be right around $1,400. I would say right now, roughly $1,600 or so. That is 82% lower than it is living in Manhattan. And get this, a whopping 205% lower than it is to live in Brooklyn. Listen, I'm not sure why you would want to pay 205% more to live in Brooklyn. Brooklyn's great, by the way. But my God, listen, I want his money. What about you? There's a reason that people are picking up and packing and moving away from New York down to the Carolinas and other southern cities. It is far less expensive than living where you live. And God forbid you talk about paying property taxes. I speak to some people that tell me their property tax bills can be as high as $20,000 in some northern states. Down here, on my new construction home, my property tax bill under $4,000. That is significantly lower than it is in New York. And listen, that actually just went up. My property tax bill used to be right around $1,800, but because so many of you have moved to our city, yeah, taxes have gone up, okay? But it's not going to get to where it is where you guys are. You got to come down south, man. New York is infamous for sky-high real estate costs, or even a modest apartment can cost millions. You guys already know it. And as we just talked about, renters also face hefty monthly payments, making home ownership just a dream for many people. When you talk about the cost of living, Charlotte overall cost of living is about 5% lower than the national average, even though we as native Charlotteans believe that prices are way too high around this area. So listen, when you're talking about affordable utilities, groceries, and dining out options, which I'm starting to beg to differ on the dining out options, man. We went out and had lunch today. It was $120, but the food was delicious. And yes, if you come to town, I'm going to take you out to lunch or dinner, whatever you like. So again, cost of living, guys, down here, I mean, listen, it is definitely different than living up in New York City, anywhere in New York for that matter, unless you're up in Albany, places like that. But listen, Charlotte's a great place to be if you want to make good money, have a good job, okay? Kind of like up in New York, good job, good money, but the cost of living, you're going to be able to keep some of that money in your pocket. Now, one of the drawbacks, of course, is going to be transportation. So I've even had people that I've done consultations with from New York that have flat out told me, listen, I don't own a car, man. Can you find me a home where I can actually ride the bus or get on the train? Well, public transportation is going to be limited, okay? It's not limited per se, but you think about a place like New York, it is definitely going to be limited, with most of us relying on cars to get around, all right? Traffic congestion can also be a huge problem because everybody's got to drive a car. Commuting times, of course, are going to be slower than New York, but a 30-minute or 40-minute drive to me here in Charlotte, man, it still feels like a long time because we're not used to being in traffic for that long. So when you come down here, you're gonna laugh at us when we talk about commute times and traffic because to you, there's probably none. But for us, my God, it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, New York City, of course, as you know, has extensive public transit system, all right? It's often overcrowded, plagued by delays, commuting times can be notoriously long, and owning a car can be almost out of the question because it's downright expensive and your insurance is too high. So you can come here if you don't own a car, and you can get a car fairly reasonable. And I know some people that own car lots, so let me know if you need one, all right? And your insurance, of course, is not gonna kick you in the teeth like it will up in New York. My daughter, she's 24 years old, just bought her a nice Honda Accord up in New York, fairly new, but the insurance is absolutely ridiculous. I got a family of 3 here in Charlotte paying the same thing for car insurance as I am for my one daughter up in New York. So I'm trying to get her to move down here too, but guess what she told me? I don't like those country boys down in Charlotte. I'm not moving down there. Y'all are too slow, she tells me. Well, daughter, I want you to be slow. Get your tail back down south, man. She moved away, guys, when she was 10 years old. Her mom met a guy who was retiring from Rikers Island, took her back to Queens, and my beautiful little girl, my little country flower, as I like to call her, moved back up to New York, man, and now she's a city girl. She's been up there 14 years now. She loves New York, but I want her to come home, okay? I miss her, all right? Now, when we talk about education, Charlotte is home to a growing number of high quality, highly rated schools. We've got some great universities around this area. New York, of course, listen, we're not gonna even talk about New York and education because you've got prestigious schools and universities up there. So educational opportunities, you probably got us beat, but you still have great opportunities and probably less competition when you're talking about moving down south to the Charlotte area. Talked about taxes for a moment. So North Carolina has relatively moderate state taxes with no, you hear me? No estate tax, making it more attractive for retirees and wealthier individuals. So if you're wealthy and you want to move to Charlotte, you call me, okay? Sean Gerald will take great care of you, all right? New York, on the other hand, high state and local taxes, all right? Including a city income tax, making New York City one of the most heavily taxed places in the country. That sounds hellholish to me, my friends, okay? Who wants to give all that money away for taxes? Not me. So listen, again, I'm not picking on you New Yorkers, man, I love y'all, okay? I got my daggone Yankees hat on today. Love New York, man. Love to come visit too. But Charlotte is gonna offer you a much better quality of life. Now listen, you guys know I served in the United States Marine Corps, military, all right? I fought for all of my freedoms, and one that's specific to me that I absolutely love. Now, I'm not one of those single issue voters, but I love my Second Amendment rights, guys. The rights for me to be able to bear arms and take care of my family and defend my home. I love that. I love going to the pew-pew range, okay? I love doing that. I love to go hunting. I love target pew-pewing, okay? And I'm saying pew-pew so YouTube doesn't, take me out the algorithm. I love doing those things. And I don't want to have to deal with a lot of bureaucracy like you guys do in New York to be able to just exercise a right that was given to me, that I went and served my country to make sure was available to everyone. But you New Yorkers, I know you guys like pew-pews. Okay, I know you do, but you got freedom down here. I can open carry down here. I can carry concealed down here. As a matter of fact, I'm carrying right now. Okay? This is how we do it down south. And my friends that are moving from New York and other places that come down here, and they're scared to go buy a pew-pew for some reason. Listen, you've got all the freedom in the world in North Carolina. North Carolina as a whole is a Republican state. In Charlotte, however, it's very liberal. Charlotte is a very, very liberal city. We've had of every color, race, creed, shape, size in this city. Going back as far as the 80s, when Mayor Harvey Gantt, the first black mayor of Charlotte, was elected. Very liberal city, man. Okay, it's a democratic city, but we still have the right to bear arms. Unlike you folks up in New York with those strict gun laws, it may not align down here with everybody's preference. I know that some people want to get pew-pews off the street altogether. It ain't happening down here though, my friends. So if you like your freedoms and you like your rights, hey, listen, come on down, man. This may be the place for you, all right? And the next subject we're going to talk about is crime. You might want to have a pew-pew, right? Crime does exist everywhere. And while it's generally lower than it is in New York City, Charlotte definitely has to address our crime in this city. Listen, I've been talking about pew-pews here, but when you talk about how many, listen, it may be once a week, all right? It's not crazy in Charlotte. We get 2 a week. Like, hey, I'm like, scratching my head, like, what's going on, guys? Okay, calm down. Overall, man, this is a great city to live in. It's very, very safe in most areas that you're in, right? Now, listen, reading through my comment section, all right? We'll talk about this for a moment. I heard and read racism, quite a bit in the comment section. Now, listen, I grew up here in Charlotte. I'm not going to pretend like there's no racism here in North Carolina. Listen, you can drive around some rural areas and you are going to see rebel flags. I've gone to a showing before. It's probably 3 or 4 years ago. And at that time, I didn't take my pew-pew with me when I went out to show homes. But I went to a home at New Yorker, as a matter of fact, wanted to live in a mobile home park down in Concord. So I driving up through the woods. I'm like, okay, man, this looks a little scary back up in these woods, man. And why does this lady want to live in the woods like this? Like, it was confusing to me by herself. Didn't make any sense. Well, anyway, I get back up in the woods, man. There's rebel flags everywhere. I get out the car and this guy comes out on this front porch. He's like, hey, boy, look at that man. Hey, boy, what you doing over here? That's so-and-so's house. Well, sir, you do see that for sale sign out in the front yard, don't you? I'm a real estate agent. This man goes in his house and comes back on the front porch with his pew-pew. Tells me and my client need to leave. We didn't leave, but it made me think. Listen, there's probably racism everywhere. There's probably unconscious bias everywhere. Everyone probably has some bias towards something, right? But for me to sit here and tell you that I experience racism every day, I would be lying to you. I would be lying to you guys, all right? And listen, I'm a nice guy. I'm a big dude. I'm a nice guy. I smile a lot. Maybe that's why. But I've got a lot of friends that look like me. They don't talk about racism much either. Maybe because we live in a very liberal city, we don't see it. When I go into the outskirts, because Charlotte's been this way for so long and we've been moving out of the city, we don't see it a whole lot, right? But in the comment section, there are people that told me that they have experienced racism in the Charlotte metro. So I'm not going to tell you that you're not going to see it or not going to experience it moving down south. But I can tell you what, for the most part down here, everybody just gets along, man. And I freaking love it, all right? So I just want to share that with you as well, all right? Let's talk about nightlife. I know there's no comparison, okay? New York City is a city, it never sleeps. We already know that, right? You got world-class entertainment, okay? Dining, cultural events at all hours of the night. It could be super fast-paced. And for somebody like me that's 53 years old, I'm ready to slow down. So Charlotte is perfect speed for me, right? We do offer an array of entertainment, okay? Sports teams, restaurants, outdoor activities. Man, listen, beaches, mountains. Got the stuff in New York too, right? But it's so close here. Beaches, mountains, lakes, boating, skiing. You name it. You can do it all. And we've got a great nightlife right here in the Charlotte metro as well, and a ton of restaurants. So I don't think that you're going to come here and miss or want for anything that you get in New York City, except everything may close at 1 o'clock, maybe at 12 o'clock. Probably not that early, but it is going to close up on you at some point. So you got to come out and get out early so that you can get to the club or to the bar, wherever you're going to have fun. You got to get those things in pretty early in Charlotte, because this city will shut down somewhere around 2 o'clock, guys, all right? Now, let's talk about the weather. Just today, I was at an appointment with some clients. Again, those folks in Miami. Out with those folks, man, over at Toll Brothers, building out their new, their home's going to be beautiful too, but building out their new home, picking out the finishes and things like that. Well, the guy that was there, man, our rep that was helping us today, he moved to Charlotte about 24 years ago. And my clients from Miami, like, they're loving the weather here because it's so hot there. And they said, man, when is it going to snow? And we all looked at each other and said, man, it's not going to snow anymore, okay? Now, when I was a kid here in Charlotte, man, it snowed a ton. I remember the snow days. Man, I remember making snow angels when I was a kid. Not anymore. I don't think we've had a good snow here about 4 years. We get freezing rain, we get sleet, we get threats of snow, and you better know the grocery stores clear out all the way. Schools are shut down for a week only because they've had some ice on the streets. Everything is shut down around here. People don't go to work, you name it. But the weather here is fan-freaking-tastic. It's August right now. And even last night, I had to put a light jacket on outside. I think it's about 60 degrees outside. Our weather's amazing. It's not gonna get super hot. 100 is hot for us here. And that's hot, right? The wintertime, we may get down into the teens. It's gonna be some days you get in the teens, but it gets warm in the Charlotte metro somewhere around, I would say by February, gonna be some days you can wear shorts, Charlotte. That's gonna last all the way up through December in some cases. You're gonna have some cold nights and cold days, but you're gonna occasionally get that day and night that's very mild. Our weather's amazing. It does rain a lot down in the Charlotte metro, but it makes for beautiful trees, beautiful lawns. It's just a beautiful city, guys. I freaking love where I grew up. We get all 4 seasons, kinda, okay? Kinda we do. Our winter, it's very short because you're gonna start getting warm again, as I mentioned, about February. And then from February up to June, it's gonna be hot, warm, cold, hot, warm, cold, hot, warm, cold. But you're gonna freaking love it because the big jacket you have, you can probably retire that jacket. Unlike New York, you're gonna get some crazy weather, man. You got really cold winters, you got hot, humid summers. That can be challenging. If you want growth, if you want to start a business, this is it. I have iterated, I have changed my life, my career, the businesses that I owned, gosh, probably 4 times. And every time, God has found a way to show me success. Okay, very blessed, all right? Maybe that's a mindset thing. My belief system maybe carries me there. But I'm telling you right now, I know people that have moved to this state with nothing, and they're doing very, very well now. If you bring that New York mentality and your New York hustle down to the Charlotte metro and you don't win, something's wrong, all right? You're not a real New Yorker as far as I'm concerned, all right? Guys, listen, I just wanted to jump on here real quick and tell my friends from New York that I love y'all. Listen, Charlotte is an amazing city. And for those of you that are moving from other places, yeah, I talked about New York a lot because, let's face it, there are a lot of New Yorkers that are moving to the Charlotte metro, okay? A lot of Northerners in general that are coming down to this city for a better way of life. And if you are looking to do the same thing, give me a call, 704-340-3822. My name is Sean Gerald with Lifestyle International Realty. Guys, listen, let's have some fun. Until my friends in New York, stop being sensitive, man. I love y'all, all right? I'll talk to y'all soon. Y'all have a great day, man. Let's go get it.